Now, is the answer to that question not obvious? You fix it. Notice how I got a kick arm that clears the exhaust now. Let's see how she sounds. Pretty good. Alright, here's Erica. I'm going to use her case as an example to talk about our same-day crowns and what you can expect. A little walkthrough to update the earlier video. So Erica came in for a filling, and she said to me before we got started, "Hey, is this filling going to help with the problem I'm having when I drink cold, eat sweets, or chew, because I can't chew on this side?" I looked at x-rays beforehand and knew that these were all really small fillings that were needed. So I told her, I don't think so. Let's take a look, see what's going on. Now, Erica had been in for a cleaning just a few weeks before, if I recall correctly, and she did not have this problem. But when I looked at the tooth she pointed to, here's a picture. Do you see what's wrong? It's a little subtle. I don't know if most people would pick up on it if they didn't have the symptoms. Alright, at the top left corner here, the back end of that second to last tooth, there's a little crack. Do you see it now? Alright, well what we've got here is a cracked tooth syndrome. Now sometimes with a tooth like this, you can do a crown and it will quiet down. Sometimes it'll just not quiet down. So let me walk you through the process of doing the crown. And I didn't take photos while she was in my chair. So here is a photograph of the cast that we made. It's an exact copy of that prepared tooth that you saw in the picture earlier. And we take a solid block of porcelain, pictured here, and we make a crown out of it. Now the way that we do that is we make a digital impression in the computer from that model. And then we design the crown. Now I really like being in control of designing the crown because since I'm the one who cut on the tooth, made those exact dimensions on the tooth, and I know exactly where I want those cuss tips, and those fossas, I can make the thickness ideal everywhere. There's no guesswork, there's nobody else involved. So here's a picture of the finished crown. I'm not sure if Erica's going to come in by the time I need to publish this video or not. So if she's come in, here's a picture of the final in her mouth. If it hasn't been convenient for her to come up and finish it, then no picture right here. Now she opted to have this done in 2 days, but you can definitely have this done all in one appointment. Actually, I had someone the other day come in and they had lost a crown during a surgery. It was a crown that I made, so I was able to go into the computer and just make them the same crown. It took less than 2 hours. Alright, if you have a question or a comment, post below. If you'd like to see us in a professional manner, here's our info. Everybody have a great day. Thanks for watching to the end. So what was that horrible grinding noise? Well, it wasn't the Bendix gear, as you might expect, but it wasn't too bad of a repair. Let me orientate you here. This is where the kicker lives, and you've seen me swing it out like this, and then kick it to start the motorcycle when I do it right. Now, before I get into the meat of her here, let me tell you who I bought the parts from. This is not a sponsored video. I don't do that, but this is a personal friend. A couple years ago, he bought a rusty GTO from me, and that's the money I used to buy this thing. So it's a small family-owned and operated business. If you need parts like this and something like this, I'll tell you, it cost me under $100 shipped. Call Dwayne out at Outlaw Choppers. That's in Molino, Florida. His number is 850-587-2640, and here's his website, okay? Alright, let's zoom in here and I'll show you what exactly is going on here. Alright, so attached to that kicker pedal is this kicker gear here. And it lives just like that. And when you kick, it swings out like this. It engages. And then right as the motor is starting, it disengages. And then the spring on the outside, when you let go, goes all the way back real quick. On this side, the main shaft, which spins with the motor, there's a spring. We're going to leave that out for right now. There is a starter gear, and that's our problem. And then there is a keyed clutch gear. Now this is friction fit here, so I'm not going to be able to get it all the way on without torquing it down. But that spring pushes the starter gear up against the clutch gear, so it wants to spin with the motor. What that kicker gear is doing is it's got that little plate that pushes against the starter gear and against that spring tension to hold it away. Well, let's take that clutch gear away. There. That little plate right there pushes against the starter gear and keeps it from engaging and spinning with the motor. Now this is the problem here. The old one has a ton of weeble wobble in it. So what was happening is, even though the kicker gear was pushing up against it, this side of it was weeble wobbling, catching on that clutch gear, and over here was hammering on the kicker gear, damaging it. But it sure did sound like a bearing, didn't it? Now to compare, the new starter gear slides on smooth but does not have that weeble wobble. So the kicker gear is going to be able to hold it, and it's not going to make any contact with that clutch gear at all. Now, why did that happen? Let's see if I can zoom in here and refocus. Alright, so that gold colored part, that is a bushing, a bronze bushing, and it's soft compared to all the other metals in the bike. So over time, and you got to remember this bike is like 40 years old, over time that bronze is going to wear down. So even though this new gear fits nice and tight against that main shaft and spins but doesn't want to weeble wobble, the old one is at the end of the lifetime and enough has worn away that it weeble wobbles.